0.
Now, here is America's eager astronaut, Randall Schuler.
It's International Day of Human Spaceflight, and the top story continues to be the increasing anticipation for a Starship launch next week. Critical but incomplete information about plans for the flight were released on the SpaceX website late Tuesday with, quote, excitement guaranteed at T0. We'll have all those details in a moment. Overnight, Starship 24 was destacked from the launch mount and lowered to the ground, presumably for the arming of the vehicle's flight termination system, a key final step in the launch processing. There is still no word yet about the status of the FAA launch license. The agency's current operations plan advisory webpage today continues to show a launch attempt date of Monday the 17th, with backup dates on the 18th through 22nd. The window for the launch is now shown as 3 hours and 5 minutes from 8 a.m. to 11:05 a.m. Eastern. An earlier SpaceX tweet said that there would be no launch rehearsal this week, but it did not say if one was in the works for next week. The road closure for the 17th is listed as a non-flight event. And remember that Musk had tweeted that the launch was trending toward later in the week of the 17th, leading some to speculate that the 4/20 date, something that's a favorite of Musk, was in play. We simply don't know how these moving parts will come together. A walk down memory lane finds a Musk tweet in August 21 claiming the stack would be ready for flight, quote, in a few weeks, and we know how that turned out. This time, though, it really is different. The big news is about the return plans for Starship 24. Observers had expected SpaceX to attempt a soft landing of the Starship second stage over the Pacific Ocean north of Hawaii, but the company states now that, quote, the team will not attempt a vertical landing of Starship. There will be no repeat of the popular flip and burn maneuver demonstrated earlier, which rotates the vehicle from its acute entry angle to a vertical soft landing position. Thus, even a completely successful integrated test flight, which is now being called by SpaceX, will not validate the entire end-to-end flight profile. Without further information from SpaceX, we can only speculate on the reasons for this change. Given the nature of Ship 24's thermal protection system, perhaps there is little hope for the vehicle surviving re-entry. Another thought is that the company doesn't relish dealing with the large vehicle floating in the water, and by depleting the propellant that would be used for a landing maneuver, they assure breakup of the craft on landing. Perhaps the FAA had some opinions about the disposal plan as well. The plan to conduct a boost back of the booster stage is, however, retained in the plan. The announcement that a catch of the Super Heavy booster will not be attempted, on the other hand, was widely expected. The flight dynamics and mechanical intricacies in such a pioneering attempt will require a lot more effort to resolve. An 8-step countdown sequence was depicted, with booster locks and methane loading at T-minus 1 hour 39 minutes, ship methane at 1 hour 22 minutes, locks 5 minutes later, Raptor chill at T-minus 16 minutes 40 seconds, a previously unknown step called fluid interface vent down at T-minus 40 seconds, and finally Raptor startup at T-minus 8 seconds, remarkably similar to the Saturn V and shuttle sequence. At T0, the website declares, excitement guaranteed, something Musk has said before. The flight test timeline warns readers that the completion of the milestones is not required for a successful test, but each milestone completed will certainly make for an exciting test, it says. Max Q, which some think might pose the greatest challenge to the structural integrity of Starship and its reinforced payload area, comes at T plus 55 seconds. Booster engine cutoff is at 2 minutes 49 seconds, with stage separation 3 seconds later. Starship ignition is another 5 seconds later. Booster landing in the Gulf would come after the landing burn shutdown at T plus 8 minutes 3 seconds. Starship entry is pegged at 1 hour 17 minutes 21 seconds, with splashdown at 90 minutes, bringing the historic test to a conclusion. SpaceX said they plan to begin their live webcast about 45 minutes before liftoff. One wag on Twitter even posted what he claimed was a link to the YouTube page for the coverage. Being gullible, I clicked and I was rickrolled. In return, I suggested that he could be arrested for fake news. Oh well, live and learn. News that Starship won't get a chance to come down safely led to a repeat of this Daily Hopper cartoon, with Starship wondering where the promised barge had gone. Alas, it seems Starship 24 will go out in a blaze of glory, fondly remembered for its accomplishments. More bad news about plans for the exploration of Venus. Paul Byrne, the planetary guy on Twitter, is an associate professor of Earth and planetary science at Washington University in St. Louis and a self-proclaimed planetary evangelist. He tweets that planning for his proposed Phantom balloon mission has come to a halt. He notes that last September, NASA took Venus off the allowed list for the upcoming New Frontiers 5 mission competition. He says, "We tried our best to convince NASA to restore Venus to the list, but we failed, so there won't be a Venus proposal." He continues, "Because of the problems with the Psyche mission, JPL, and NASA's decision to delay another Venus mission, Veritas, there might not be another planetary mission competition for quite some time. At a time when NASA has delayed one of its 2 selected Venus missions by at least 2 years, the agency has decided to not allow the Venus community to even get on the playing field for its next major planetary mission competition. We'll take some time to develop our technology, and we'll keep the pilot light on for our science." He goes on to say that NASA's last mission to Venus was Magellan in 1989. There are some profound questions we can tackle at Venus, including how Earth has stayed habitable for billions of years. Those questions will keep on being profound, but we'll have to wait for longer to answer them. Japanese company iSpace has announced a landing date for its Hakuto R Mission 1 lunar lander, Tuesday, April 25th at 1640 UTC. The firm reports that it will live stream the landing attempt. Alternate dates are the 26th and May 1st and 3rd. Launched aboard a Falcon 9 rocket in December, it carries the Rashid rover from the United Arab Emirates and a robot sphere from JAXA. The primary landing site is the Atlas crater on the outer edge of Mare Frigoris, the Sea of Cold, on the near side of the moon. The technology demonstration mission is about 7.5 feet tall, weighing about 2,200 pounds. The main body is an octagonal prism with 1 main landing thruster and 6 assist thrusters. Solar panels charge a lithium-ion battery, and communications are via X-band. The Rashid rover, weighing about 20 pounds, is hoped to operate for about 2 weeks. The Japanese Lunar Excursion Vehicle, or Transformable Lunar Robot, is a small 8-centimeter diameter sphere with a mass of about 1/4 kilogram that will open into a cylindrical shape, basically an axle with 2 hemispherical wheels, and carry cameras for surface observations. As all space nerds know, today marks historic anniversaries for human spaceflight. On this day in 1961, 62 years ago, Yuri Gagarin completed his milestone voyage, and in 1981, Columbia launched on mission STS-1, opening the 30-year shuttle program. It's celebrated as Cosmonautics Day and also as Yuri's Night. It's enshrined by the United Nations as International Day of Human Spaceflight in a declaration on April 7th of 2011. The resolution says the day, quote, is to celebrate each year at the international level the beginning of the space era for mankind, reaffirming the important contribution of space science and technology in achieving sustainable development goals and increasing the well-being of states and peoples, as well as ensuring the realization of their aspiration to maintain outer space for peaceful purposes, unquote. Interest is being expressed in Martian images taken by the Curiosity rover, showing obviously eroded rocks with evenly spaced projections or spikes protruding from the surface. Dr. Phil Metzger jokes on Twitter that they're the spines of ichthyosaurs who explored the planet, proving that although they didn't have a planetary defense system, they really did have a space program after all. It's always amusing how geological oddities can produce comical dialogue. And now for our quote of the day.
Science cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature. And that is because, in the last analysis, we ourselves are a part of the mystery that we are trying to solve. Max Planck.
For our Did You Know feature, perhaps you wondered why the site of Starbase is known as Boca Chica. Glad you asked. It means small mouth in Spanish, referring to the Rio Grande River. The flow of the river is generally rather low here, and the river's mouth has been known to disappear during droughts. The area is bordered by the Brownsville Ship Channel to the north, the Rio and the Mexico to the south, and the Gulf of Mexico to the east. Until our next show, add in Explorata toward the unknown in the measureless arena of space. Thanks so much for watching. We'd love to see your comments about how we're doing. See you soon with our next episode.